Hey everybody, I'm Ben Lee Ritchie Handler. I'm the director of Nicodim Gallery here in Los Angeles and in Bucharest. This is a show called Trans World that I curated with interiors by Jorge Luis Cruzada from Siglo Moderno. This is a show about multiverse theory. So every time you make a decision or I make a decision, the universe splits in 2 and 3 and 4, and there are alternate versions of ourselves living with the consequences of those alternate decisions. So if you trace it back forward or backwards far enough, there's a different reality, a different universe in which I'm you, you're me, everyone is everyone. But this show is about artists who are able to manifest multiple universes all at the same time. This is an artist called Kotkin. Kotkin is from Bucharest, or Romania, actually Cluj, Romania, and was born a few weeks after the Chernobyl disaster. And in Cluj, where she was from, the Chernobyl became this kind of shorthand for every ailment, everything that was wrong. It became this spirituality. And on top of that, a few years after the Berlin Wall fell, Romania had a revolution, and everybody went from worshiping the state to Romanian Orthodox overnight. And so me is a perfect example of somebody who straddles these multiple universes at the same time. This painting is an articulation of her own personal cosmology. And it's called Chemtrails over Los Angeles. She made it while she was in LA. In Bucharest, where this show exists in another universe, the same roster of artists made unique works for that exhibition as well. And so the show itself is multiversal. But here, back here in Los Angeles, we have Morgan Schiember. She likes glass is kind of an emblem of the multiversality of materials. Glass, of course, starts as sand, and then it becomes glass. And then to create the shattered multiversal effect, she reintroduces the glass to the element from which it came, dust, and so then it creates this shattered effect. So it's kind of like an Ouroboros, or a snake sucking its own dick. Over here we have Devin Johnson. Devin Johnson is from New York. This painting is called Richard's Reply, the Remix. It's made in reaction to Deborah Davis, who started the Underground Museum, who died a few years ago, unfortunately. But Noah had a painting called Richard's Reply, in which the figure is facing this way. So this painting is Devin speaking to Noah beyond the grave, beyond this universe, into the next, into another in which they could actually make work side by side. This is See Opus. She's from Cape Town, South Africa. She creates these canvases over periods of months, sometimes years, layering the paint down until the figures emerge themselves, creating unique identities for this timeline, and presumably in other timelines the figures are completely different. Moving forward, here we have Dominique Fung. We're going to have a solo show with her in May, and actually one with Devin in February. But she deals a lot with themes of Orientalism. Dominique is from Toronto. She's Asian American. This is Lisa Ann Harbach. Lisa Ann Harbach created her own tarot deck, and the tarot decks are different symbolic images that have borders that represent the different chakras. The red is the ground, the blue is the sky, and then the rainbow in between is everything else. These photos. So these photos here are placed in the configuration of the tarot of the choice. She did a reading for my wife Vivian, in which the card in the front represents Vivian, and then these two configurations down here represent 2 different paths she could take. So it kind of fits in with the multiverse theory of the show, and that it shows you where you are now, and then 2 different decisions, how it branches out into the multiverse. This is Vaginal Davis. Vaginal Davis is a legendary punk rocker and drag queen from Los Angeles. Now she lives in Berlin, but these are portraits that she draws with her beauty supplies of different actors and actresses mostly, from throughout history. This is Katja Novitskova. She's an Estonian artist, and she became obsessed with this video chimps and baboons in Zimbabwe, who had a farmer over there thought that his neighbor was stealing his corn, and so he set up all these motion sensor cameras, and figuring that he would catch the culprit in the act, and he did, but it turned out to be these feral animals that were climbing over the fence, stealing all the corn, and then hopping over. So it's a beautiful moment of the feral becoming domestic and the domestic becoming feral, and then she imposed this anarchist manifesto on top of it. The one in Bucharest says, the end of a civilization sparked a new beginning, which I think is a very poetic way of contextualizing this exhibition. This is a piece by Lou Cantor, the German collective. It's based on the Carrie Necklace episode of Sex and the City. After the episode aired, it was one of the first instances of numerous different ethnic groups and identities were coming forward saying, hey, Carrie stole the Carrie Necklace from us. It was Dominican Americans, African Americans, Mexican Americans, Jewish Americans, Madonna. Everybody thought that they had stolen the Carrie Necklace from them, but at the same time, everyone still calls it the Carrie Necklace. And so Lou Cantor made a Carrie Necklace that says identity politics on it in France, and kind of a commentary on the secular nature of those things. This is the godmother of the show, or god people, Genesis Breyer Peorage. Genesis Breyer Peorage is an iconoclast. She started the industrial music movement with Throbbing Gristle and later Psychic TV. But her greatest and most romantic art project was the Pandrogyne Project, in which she and her partner, Lady J, went about becoming the same person through a series of cosmetic surgeries. And so we have in this exhibition in Los Angeles, in this incarnation, in this universe of the show, they're sitting in this configuration, and the one in Bucharest, they're flipped around. But Lady J unfortunately died a few years ago, but now Genesis goes by we, they, us, they, them, in homage as a way, because she has become both of those people together, and now she's assumed both of the identities. Speaking of the origin of universes, we have Holly Borland's Ode to Courbet and the Origin of the World. You're familiar with that painting. I like this. This is the model Sibylla Phipp, who's posed very provocatively. But then as you walk around it, it's an analog lenticular, this screen. We can circle the whole way out. So it self-censors itself. But it's also an analog censoring in which the body itself is completely covered by nylon stockings and cotton balls. So like on the one hand, you get this very provocative birthing gesture, but then on the other side, you get a completely obliterated figure. So from the origin of the world, we come to the origin of Judeo-Christian civilization. This is Christ just before the transmutation, just before he becomes a deity. You're hearing this from a Jew, so I'm not very good at talking about the Jesus stuff, but I love the tenderness and the acceptance, and the acknowledgement that he's going to die, but he's going to do it for the motherfucking sins, motherfucker.